Good afternoon, and what is a bright, warm and sunny day. It is Saturday the 20th of August, and I have just grabbed these pile of parcels to unbox and a nice old cup of tea. So I'm going to start with this one, and it contains a couple of things. I've already opened it, so I have I pulled out Frontier Scum. So the other one in here is let's just see, Vaults of Vaarn. Vaults of Vaarn. Okay, nice, vibrantly blue, rich blue cover there, and this is from Games Omnivorous. So it's come all the way from Portugal, and this is the really nice Deluxe Edition. This is a role-playing game. It's basically, you've got let's have a look, basic rules, referee guide, generation your own setting, Gomon, Nomon, that's in its own setting, and adventure locations. So we get to the game itself. We start off, and the basic rules are there. It's a nice clean layout, quite a lot of dense text upon first glance at it. And we are talking about having things, you know, limited abilities. I mean, there are the 6: strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, psyche, ego, saves and item slots and so on. And you've got mystic gifts and exotica, which you can pick up, and also you've got to take into account things like water and bartering. And there's the rules of combat. So what you've really got is a complete role-playing game, you know. Essentially, so basic rules, just 3 pages long. Before we get on to creating characters and what an unpossessing bunch we have there, you know, essentially we are rolling for various aspects of the characters. So we've got true kin and synth. So this is a post-apocalyptic setting, new beasts, mycomorphs. So you've got kind of the analogues to, well, pure strain humans, androids, basically sentient beasts, mutazoids or beastoids or whatever you want to call them, plantians, sentient plants. I know they're not plants, but okay. And then Kakagen, and those are going to be mutants, I presume. So, and you roll on these tables, including mystic gifts and cybernetics and exotica, to create the basis of your character. We've got equipment lists, so we've got, obviously got a mix of the old and the new, adapted weapons, more modern, more recent weapons based upon current technology. And then we have the referee's rules. Again, this is quite nicely compartmentalised, nicely well organised, and that's it for the referee. Before we get into the bestiary, so several types of creatures and encounters there. So we do have a bandit and a battle boar and a behemoth toad, blue baboon, the Kakagen pseudo giant, Cacklemore war mama. So weird post-apocalyptic fantasy in general, FFA or foreign nomad, doppelganger, chrome cellback, chrome feathered cellback and so on, and then green guard, hiveman. I mean, really quite simply presented, clear illustration, bit of description. So it's a little bit compact perhaps for some eyes, but it packs a lot into those few pages. So lead me through quite an extensive bestiary. So stumbling drone or tumble snare. These are quite inventive. There's a nice range of different characters which are going to basically confound your player characters. So we actually even have a troika and then a subtle snare. And I like the idea that essentially you can hardly see it. You can hardly see it. Or subtle stalker, I should say. And then we've got encounters in the desert before we get on to 100 Exotica. So tables for that. And then rules for travel. So in the Exotica you might find a fancy instant table, a fancy elegant dining table compressed using hypergeometry to be the size of a matchbox. Unfurls when thrown to the ground. Okay, I mean, you know, instant table, brilliant. It's sort of like, you know, it's like having sort of like instant shelter because you can sleep under it, or instant raised bed if you want to sleep on it, or something to eat off, you know, if you've got your table manners, plan on, or you need to get up a bit higher than, you know, it's you can't reach up to the area, throw the table down, climb on top. I mean, it's a nice little thing, you know, that's a nice idea. And then we've got transport, so actually vehicles and robots and beasts of burden, complete with a camel and gun. I always like a camel with a gun. Weather, I've even got like a hex map there starting for starting play, creating NPCs, more tables upon tables and tables. I mean, you know, you could sometimes you can actually have too many tables, but essentially here the tables, and as in a lot of role-playing games, they use this inspiration for the game master. And then what you find in the sand, essentially the equivalent of what you find in the body for Mothership. And then petty gods of Varn. So you've got quite a rounded setting, you know, and then you've got creation of regions of Varn and a region generator table, so that you have all these elements, but the exact nature of the world in its physicality is entirely up to you as the game master to generate. Whether or not whether you're just rolling straight off the table and using what's there, or using that as inspiration. So you've got tables for anomalies and archives, expanding upon what's in the regions here. Again, arcologies, that's for whether you want that surviving arcologies full of survivors from the before times, or places for your player characters to explore and plunder. Tables of bandits and bounty hunters camps and Cucklemaw's den, and just different things. So essentially what you have is, okay, you can take the bounty hunters to camp, plop that down, great, have an encounter there. Whether, you know, you're selling a bounty, or you're collecting a bounty, or you're trying to get someone back from the bounty hunters have taken, so that sort of thing. That's one encounter. Roll that up, deal with that. Later on, another bounty hunter camp, different roles. FFA or FAA Nomad Camp or Varn Nomad Camp, Graves Hegemony Camp, Hegemony, Holy Places Layers. Again, lots of things that you can populate your whole your world or your version of Varn as a setting. So landmarks, ruins, science, mystics abode. All these there are to explore settlements, trade posts, varnish wrecks. So, you know, those you can explore, basically almost like a crashed starship or something like that. And then vaults, because it's a post-apocalyptic setting. You want vaults to explore and the player characters to discover things about the past and pick up exciting and interesting devices which they'll never quite understand. Before we get on to welcome to Nomon, which is the default setting for this role-playing game. and it's given reasons why you visit Nomon, and then dealing with the subject of water debt. I think that's the sort of like to look, and so on, and then the districts and so on of Nomon as the starting point for the setting and the different factions. So you know, you have the Baron's militia, whether as ally or, and then we have Ankamola, the Water Baron, and he can be either an ally or a villain. Both options are considered there. That's really thoughtful. House Lansrot, and again you have hero or villain options. I'm going to do this again and again. Church the Promised Son, here ally or villain. At Praevil's crew, again, Crimson Court, Friends of Jack, and more other factions. So you've got a lot in this book. You know, details of an urban shrine, Philosopher's Guild, bespectacled, you know, of Philosopher's Guild, complete with a pointy non-wizard's hat. Mercenaries, you know, whether you want to employ some, shoot some, defeat some, so on. Pit fighters, you know, always fun to have your player characters thrown in the pit, never mind a fight, gang of criminals. So yeah, and then potential changes in Nomon, you know, as a result of things going on, so the city can change, and then we've got a site of a ruin, an oasis, and an ecology with Vault. So lots of things to dig into, lots of things that you can use. The Tomb of Nassan Khan with hooks on exterior, so instant areas for you to explore, and then Titans of a Faded Edge sort of like expands upon the background, I'm sure, giving away a few secrets. Yeah, that is Vaults of Vaarn, a post-apocalyptic science fiction setting, OSR style game published by Games Omnivorous. That looks really interesting. I'm going to look forward to giving that a proper review. Anyway, in the meantime, I hope you have enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. If you have, then please do click on the like button down below. And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, I appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you will see me with a parcel containing a book, or even two, which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea, then please do hit that subscribe button. In the meantime, thanks again for watching another unboxing in the Nook, and I'll be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.